have Gbenga and Anthony also come up. We're going to have a quick Q&A session. Thank you. Any questions you guys have?
I think, in my opinion, a couple points from this. You guys were great. You guys are charismatic, and I love a lot what you had to say. But I think we're up against stuff that's a little bit more deeply entrenched than what you're willing to acknowledge. First of all, so the episode that happened in Oregon with the people who didn't want to make the gay wedding cake, right? I don't agree with that. I'm not religious. I don't have anything against gay people, but that's their business, okay? If they don't want to do that, just like you're saying, if there's people that are against that, they could create a boycott, and that person's business is going to decline. As a business person, that's a poor choice to make to exclude people, right? But if that's what they want to do, that's their business. Trying to use the power of the state, and that's what happened in this case, using the power of the state to tell these people that they have to make the gay wedding cake, that is out of control. And those people got fined $175,000 or something. Their business, they're out of business, right? So a boycott would have been more appropriate. If people are against that, that's fine. However, I'm guessing you've never worked in corporate America. I've worked for huge, multi-billion-dollar, multinational corporations. Every huge corporation, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, whatever, has offices of corporate social responsibility or something of that nature, right? And they are basically, the people who run those things are social justice warriors, okay? So what you're up against in that advertising world, and the people who are responsible for the public relations of these companies are run by social justice warriors. There's no way to defeat that, in my opinion. There's no way to defeat that.
What's going to be your question?
It was not really a question. That's just
okay. I agree with what he's saying. The thing about it is, if a company is not going to do something, the state should come in and say, hey, you must do that. That shouldn't be up to them. Now, if the consumer doesn't like it, you should say, we're not going to go to that place anymore, and we're just dropping them out of business that way. And then the free market says, something else will pop up, like you said earlier. A new business will pop up and say, hey, we're Christian, we serve gay wedding cakes here. So all that business that they lost, we'll go over there instead. That's the way it should be done. Because the thing about it is, once you cave in one time to that, it's going to happen over and over and over again. It's going to be the next thing that comes up that says, okay, you know what, I'm transgender, and I feel like I'm 6 years old now, even though I'm 50. So I want to come in, I want to have this Christian store make me a little tea party dress. And I want it. And it has to fit me as well, even though that's not possible. So what do you do in that situation? You got to kind of, that's kind of an absurd example, but things like that do happen, and a lot of it is people trying to exert money, people trying to get paid. It's not even about their feelings. So.
Well, I agree with that to the extent that I think consumer pressure is the way to go. It's definitely preferable. I think in some cases, the state getting involved isn't necessarily a bad thing. So, for example, firing people for their political views, I think that's an area where the state could come in a little bit. In terms of forcing companies to serve particular customers, then maybe not so much. In terms of corporate people in corporations being social justice warriors, I'm absolutely sure that's the case. But on the other hand, companies cannot ignore when they're losing millions and millions of dollars.
And just to add, and this isn't a question, but just to add, but you'll see it's, for example, Steven Crowder does. This is similar to what you pointed up here. That Protein World company, they're not Coca-Cola. They're fairly small.
They're much smaller.
Steven Crowder gets like gun manufacturers and smaller up-and-coming companies that support his values to be advertisers for him, right? I think that's a little bit strategy-wise and probably a smarter way to go, because this isn't like a movement can automatically change 50 years of corporate evolving into this.
Oh, sure, but you have to start. In my view, you have to start somewhere.
Sure,
and,
sure.
Certainly, you've got to reward the brands, but whether they're small or large, do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But there have been cases of larger brands having to submit to consumer pressure over free speech, like Intel, for example, massive corporation. They pulled out of some progressive news organizations. I think Gawker was one of them in 2014 because of the Gamergate boycott. So it has happened, and I think regardless if there are social justice rules in the company or not, companies will find it hard to ignore it if there are millions and millions of consumers getting active.
I absolutely hate government mandate. I don't like it when the President Obama mandated the restroom thing. I was mad. Not because I was against the LGBT people. Who are you to tell us what to do in El Paso? Why can't the Paso people vote if they want that? Why can't the citizens vote if they want that? And that was very, very. I was mad about that. And going back to the Christian people, to baking the cake, I was mad that the state did what they did to them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. At the same time, I'm speaking to them because I'm a Christian. I'm speaking to them too, and to all Christians out there. We need to be very careful on how we use religion, how we use the name of God, and all of these issues. We have to be very, very, very careful about it. And again, I will say it again, God does not care whether you make a cake and for a gay couple or not. It doesn't. So it's two parts that I'm addressing. The state thing I disagree with. There shouldn't be. At the same time, we as supposed to be loving people, supposed to accept everybody and love people, we have to be very careful. And that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, who do we select?
Sure. I have a question, especially for you, Mr. Asadeko, is that correct?
Yes.
Your speech was very moving, but when you talked about us being involved, and you never really gave any guidance to that, because for those students who are protesting, they believe that they're getting involved in a positive way.
Absolutely.
So, or I can understand the merit behind that, because, I mean, if you want to do something good, you feel like you're involved and you're caught up in the motion, yeah, go for it. It's what you want to do. You have the right to that. But you don't really seem to be advocating towards that notion. So what kind of advice do you have to offer to those students, or for all students for that?
He talked about it. He mentioned about having a conversation, sitting down, okay, and exhaust all the possibilities. If there's an issue, in your personal life, you always ask yourself, you have a problem. What is my problem? Then you sit down, what is the solution to my problem? You'll be amazed what happened. It's magical. When I ran for student body president, I got a yellow pad. How can I win the student government president? Never been involved before in student government association. Never. My first time, 3 weeks before the election. And I have so many ideas that came to me. And I went through some are good, some are bad. I started implementing them and I won. So there's a problem. Many of these people, they don't want a solution to anything. They just want to protest. They want to just fight. Again, remember I told you, politicians will come, special interest group will come to you and ask you to get involved in their cause. We need students to be organized. They can get 10 schools, the major leagues, we want to get them and talk to them and have them do certain things for us. That's what I'm talking about. When I won the election, they were going to take it away from me because they said some of my teammates did something and everything and what have you. They were going to be protest. Some students said, no, Gbenga worked very hard. He campaigned very hard. You can't take the election from him. No, we're going to fight. We're going to do anything. I would get a lawyer. I said, no, stop. Let's talk about it. Let's work things out. There will be some times where we might need to protest. But again, what I'm telling you is you have to be very careful what you are getting involved with. Be very careful. You can't just get involved in all of these things going on. What benefit does it do for you? What benefit does it do for the school? What benefit does it do for the country? I would hand by this. That's why I like President Trump. It doesn't back down to media. It doesn't bow down to all of those political pandering and everything and what have you. Actually he apologizes to his family members if he made a mistake to them, to friends if something went wrong. He doesn't want people to tell him to demand apology from him. Oh, you have to apologize for this. And immediately there's put pressure to make you to cave in. And it doesn't back down and to doing things like that. I told you about to get involved. If you are going to college, get involved in honor society, get involved in accounting society, get involved in CEO Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization. It's helping me right now when I was a student. We learn about entrepreneurship. We get involved in franchising. We get involved in things that will help us build our life. That will make us to be independent instead of dependent and government that will make us to create a business and do something for ourselves. You can get involved in that. So if you're going to get involved in the protest, do your research very well. Then decide if you want to get involved in that.
Thank you.
All right, all the way in the back.
I mean, I didn't really get to listen to your speech regarding the whole LGBTQ cake, but I mean, quite frank, it doesn't seem really as drastic of issue or discussion we'll be having, because again, if you look at what you stated about Christianity, any religious aspect, it's mostly we're here to love each other because we're all human beings. So if everyone abided by that scenario wouldn't have even been into reality. It wouldn't even transpire if everyone followed that exact thing. So my question is, I mean, everyone keeps talking about changing culture, but would you feel that the way that we think should be changed to where it's not addressing towards educational, but more of informing the masses, informing the public to try to get them to understand what's going on within their own reality, so that we would be able to go ahead and be on that same conscience level to where we can come down as human beings and discuss things and meet that consensus. Because I mean, that's one thing that I'm continuously always constantly thinking about every single day is, well, how am I going to be able to go ahead and talk to certain people that don't align with me or disagree with me continuously? And I just feel it's always just informing, just being bringing, I guess, your data, your statistics, but at the same time being receptive to hear their data and their statistics and seeing, well, what kind of finite.
I got you. So I think you're trying to ask, how do you come to a common ground with someone, basically? If they're on one side, you're on one side. You have your stats, they have their stats. How do you meet in the middle? Is that what you're saying?
No, would it be best to just inform people, just regardless of it, just any data, any statistics to where they can garner it, just not for one opposition, but for both oppositions?
I mean, the information is out there. I mean, the information is out there.
I personally don't believe there's left or right in political spectrum because everything's just complicated. But to analyze that with any issue, you can present it with right and left statistics and data and be like, hey, so this is what's happening regarding with this issue.
Well, data isn't really partisan, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have data that says 100% of one person does one thing, then that's not left or right. That's just a statistic. Now, what you could say is some people, they just basically specialize in giving one set of stats rather than all stats. That could be it. If they had all the stats, the story would be different. So I do agree we should do that.
There's a saying that I had this kind of conversation with one of my friends, and he told me, he said an interesting statement, and it really resonates, and he says, life is subjective, but truth is objective. But that doesn't mean that truth can be subjective. Because again, how you pointed out about the Young Turks, I mean, all you have to do is just quantify the data, and just it's always there. It can be just a fraction of what the actual ratio is, but it's not the full story. And that's why I just feel, regardless of it, even if it is biased, you let the individuals know, hey, this is biased, but here's all this data from both sides.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you give all data from both sides, then it can't be biased. If you give all the data available, then it can't be biased. If you only give one piece of the data to just fit your narrative, then that's when you have bias. So I do agree with you.
So I'm just hard. I'm tired.
Let me ask you. If you watch CNN, which party do you think they're more aligned to?
I guess on that political spectrum, it would be more liberal.
What about Fox News?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. They want us divided. I told you earlier. From the top. And everybody will throw out some mumbo jumbo and okay, here's this, and this person is better, that person. You have to come to, it's going to happen between you and I over here. If you follow the media, you're going to be feeding the bad wolf I talked about. And at the end of the day,
media. It's info, really. I mean, info, anything can be biased. I mean, like he said, I have my own personal influences or personal perspectives on certain things. So anything that I tell you regarding this issue, it's going to have my own biases. And so just info,
but we're going to have to move
internet,
on
info can be
to other questions.
I'll just say one thing on that though, briefly. Like, you're always going to have biases. You can't eliminate bias. That's why you need diversity of opinion. Like, watch CNN and Fox.
Yes. Get all the information and come to your own conclusion.
think that memes had the thing to do with Trump being elected?
Absolutely.
Without doubt.
Yes. I mean, the whole meme culture, social media, 4chan, Reddit, all of it, everything, YouTube, they put a big part in it. Everything helps because if you look at the real data, like you said, my man, in the back, if you look at all the data and you see how much money Trump had versus how much money Hillary had, I think Trump had like, what, 700 million or less?
Yeah.
Hillary had like 1.2 billion or more. And Trump still won, and a lot of that is because of the way he was able to market himself and the way others were able to market him. With social media, with the memes, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, even Trump himself revolutionized the whole Twitter game. Everybody's worried about, well, what is Trump tweeting? What is Trump about on Twitter? He revolutionized that whole game, and that definitely helped him win because he had no money.
Yeah, it was an enthusiasm gap. That's why you saw all the memes like Trump's supporters were just much more enthusiastic. I will say the name of this controversy, the name of this conference, sorry, reminded me a little bit of "He Will Not Divide Us." My favorite story of the year by far. Just beautiful.
Trump was a master brander. I mean, I was just fascinated by the way he did everything. I said, wow.
Yes.
Russia didn't help him win. He won that election. It was very, very smart. I mean, I'm sorry. He sit in the media like a dog. He woke up in the morning. He just, what can I feed them today? And he would go on Twitter, wait for it. Boom. And everybody go crazy. And he would go back again. Okay, I don't mean to say that. I don't mean to say that. Okay, this was like what I meant. And it's just a bunch of nothing. And he was able to capitalize on controlling the news media. And he won.
So I have a question from the live chat. Should right-wingers attempt to convert or reform Silicon Valley, or should right-leaning tech entrepreneurs try to create a counter-tech industry and smash their, I'll just say crap?
I think counter-tech has been tried. I think the obstacle it faces is that it will only get the conservatives, it will only get the free speech defenders. Because like Twitter censorship on social media only really affects conservatives, only really affects people on the right. So if you make an alternate platform, there's no reason for the normies to move over. There's no reason for moderate people, for non-political people to move over. That's the obstacle you face there.
Yeah, I mean, about that, there's so much you can do about that. I think when you're talking about tech industry, there's a lot of money involved. So when you got a lot of money like that, it's difficult for you to see things from the average person's perspective as far as being conservative. So it's kind of hard to really, convert them because what's the incentive to convert? They really don't have any. So that's a hard task there.
I will say that Facebook is much better than Twitter. That they're still bad in terms of removing conservative content and enforcing very strict content policy. But they're much better than Twitter in terms of reinstating people who've been banned for the wrong reasons. I think part of the reason for that is because they were really, really scared by that trending news controversy that happened last summer, I think, when the Senate threatened to get involved and hold Facebook to account. So I think you should certainly try and pressure existing companies in addition to making alternatives.
Now, obviously the country is extremely divided, that's why we're all here today. But a lot more people are starting to pay attention to what's going on. People are starting to talk, whether to each other or just out into the void. They're talking, yelling, whatever they might be doing. Do you believe that this whole situation that we're in would be a bridge to becoming more disjointed or becoming more unified as a whole in society, like on the smaller scale?
Well, I think we'll become more unified. I think people are starting to see what the extreme left is and what the extreme right is, and they don't like either side. And people are kind of going back towards middle because the average person really is in the middle. They're not really extreme left or extreme right. So when they see both of those exhibited, it's just like, well, I don't like either side. Let me come back towards the middle, and that's where everybody pretty much needs to be, in the middle. That's how you bridge the divide. Comes to the middle. So I think that is what's happening.
Yeah, I think there's a new cultural centrism emerging. I think they call it the alt-centre on social media. So I think we're going to see some of that. People were really annoyed by the social justice warriors. Now they're becoming annoyed by the alt-right.
Yes.
So there will be a new centre emerging. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Many people, or at least many of the population of Americans, they want to help other countries, and many of them want to help ourselves first. I'm guessing Well, I want to ask, where should Americans focus their attention to? Should they focus to other countries or fix themselves first?
Fix ourselves first, 100%. Because how can you help anybody else if you can't help yourself? Have your own house in order before you go out and try to help someone else. Now, I'm not saying we should not be humanitarian, of course, but at the same time, like I said, how are you going to help somebody? And the thing about it is about being the woke police, that's not, I think a lot of that has deeper roots than a lot of us really want to talk about here today. I don't want to get nobody in trouble or nobody triggered, but it's a lot of other stuff going on around the world that we don't want to talk about. And that's why we're overseas doing stuff like that. And I think once we stop doing that kind of stuff, we'll focus more on ourselves and be better off for it.
American people are generous people. There's nothing you can do to stop Americans from being generous. I mean, we don't have to wait for the government to do anything. We do stuff. I mean, there's hurricane, if there's anything, they give. I mean, they are givers. They give consistently. And but when you talk generally, I think we should focus on ourselves first. Make sure that things is done very well. But there's no way you can stop Americans from giving. It's in their nature, it's in their DNA. Don't want to help.
Yeah, I don't think it's between one or the other either. I mean, I take a moderate view on foreign policy. I'm not in favor of like massive, stupid interventions like Iraq. I think the latest attack on the Assad regime was stupid. I don't think you should weaken the Assad regime because they're well worked against ISIS and extremism. But on the other hand, I think it's right that the US armed the Kurds in northern Syria. They've done a very good job taking down ISIS. So I think you can do better. Just, obviously don't go overboard with the interventionism.
All right.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had one question about the boxes you were talking about. I feel like one thing that would help urge the divide is that, well, one of the problems that's keeping the divide as is that people are being told that they should be distilled to their components of who they are, what they are, instead of who they are. And do you have any advice just to how to get people out of that mentality?
The best way is for each individual to do it on their own part and not be beholden to someone else. Think as an individual, and then when you have more individuals doing it, it'll become a collective. As long as everybody thinks, I have to be in this box because that person says it, or that person says it, you'll never be able to get out. But then when it's that person and that person, they're able to say, I'm not in the box anymore, you're going to see a lot more of it. Because imagine, what if everybody in this room right now was in the box, and then they just say, you know what, I'm not in the box anymore. There's no more pressure. You can pretty much do whatever you want, and everybody's free. That's the way you got to do it. It's not going to be an overnight process, not at all. But it's got to start somewhere, and start with you.
So just lead by example?
Lead by example. That's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? Be your own man, be your own individual, and be your own woman if you ain't here. Just be who you are. And don't let anybody try to tell you who you have to be. You know what is right and what is wrong intrinsically in your heart. So just follow that.